unilaterally withdrawing about a dozen international staff from a base in Kunduz in northern Afghanistan, which came under attack last week.
Well, the Afghan fury over Quran burning by US forces highlights what many fear is the fragile security situation, despite political reassurances led by Washington that all is well. Well, a remarkable insight into the new fragility comes from a serving US Army officer, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. He has said publicly that the US top brass are simply not telling the truth. He says there is, quote, an absence of success on virtually every level in Afghanistan. When he joined me by webcam from Virginia, I have to say, with the agreement of the Pentagon, I asked him first for his assessment of the situation in Afghanistan.
If the people turn from the insurgency and toward their government, that will be very palpable. It'll be very obvious, as we saw in Iraq when the violence dropped off the table there in middle of 2007, because they'll be turning in the bad guys, they'll be turning in the IDs in large numbers, and then the Afghan people themselves will be supportive of their host government. And when you just don't see that at any level, I mean, anywhere, the north, the east, the south, I don't see that in any part of the country that would make that obvious that those things are happening.
Now, Colonel, why do you say how military leaders have let us down, the gap between official statements and what soldiers like you have seen on the ground? Give me the details and why you say that.
Well, for example, when you're told, there's certain things I can't discuss for classification issues, but I can tell you in certain locations in the northern of Kandahar, for example, there was several news reports this past fall where we were saying a certain area was seeing significant gains and was much progress, economic, people connecting to their government, etc. And yet I went there myself and I saw a very, very different story where the violence was very high. There was virtually no examples of the people connecting to the government. And then I personally observed where the Afghan forces were basically in collusion with the bad guys to allow them to walk right past a checkpoint when we knew that they were Taliban. And then, of course, the people themselves, again, are staying on the fence. The soldiers there who work every day are telling me that, you know, this is very typical of what they had seen during their entire time there.
I'm asking you the question, which is based on the fact that you have gone public and said, I witnessed the absence of success on virtually every level. Why have you written that?
Frankly, I felt a moral obligation to do so. If I had come back and just, with the knowledge that I had, just remained silent, those men who were still in Afghanistan and go outside the wire every day and physically risk their lives, if I knew that by telling the truth I had a chance at least to make that not the case every day, to where these guys had a chance, then I thought I had a moral obligation to do so, because we should not risk men's lives by being deceptive about it.
But you write that simply telling the truth would be a good start, and that certainly soldiers and the American people deserve better than they've gotten from their senior uniformed leaders over the past few years. Again, why have you gone public and said that?
If you're going to make war and peace decisions, or if you're going to make a decision about whether a war needs to be reinforced or continued on as the administration of our country, or as the Congress, or even as the people, it's got to be based on an accurate assessment. But if the assessment is actually bad and deteriorating, and I'm telling you it's actually good, then you're supporting something that you might not support if you knew the truth. Ergo, men, I think, have been dying that probably wouldn't be dying if everyone knew the truth over the last several years.
But why have you decided to take the professional risk of going public like this?
Well, I'm taking a professional and personal risk. These guys are taking their physical lives risk every day. It's not even in comparison, in my view.
Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, a serving US Army officer, speaking to me here on The Hub. Now to Berlin, where the German parliament has been debating a financial rescue package for Greece. The bailout package, worth 130 billion euros, is likely to win majority backing.